Do we have any questions from the audience? No?
Dodelijke stilte. Of je een vraag hebt.
So I have prepared a few questions. So I know you guys presented and we heard about the hurdles or the challenges that you faced in the process of ensuring secure data exchange or making it possible. But do you see any synergies in this process of making data exchange secure?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think what we heard is that there's a lot of people here who are capable of getting the data available, and I think we need a ton of them. Again, if you compare it with the financial system, there are multiple banks, and you need that kind of competition. You need a lot of people to get that data available. I see the connectivity to get the data traveling, and we are happy together to also contribute and find those recipes and to make sure that it's leading to a proper transaction. So I think there's plenty of business for everyone.
I think separate from business, I think what's important also that we share this experience not within this team but in a broader environment. What we've been experiencing, that it takes quite an effort to get the parties from a business perspective, or not maybe so IT mature as we are, to understand what this means and how to work with it. So the translation from the business requirement to setting up a cooperation, and that really faced us with quite a lot of work and conviction and education and education, if you like. I think that's where we can help each other to share our experiences beyond this room.
Yeah, and I think besides sharing experiences like we do today, for instance, it's also important to choose standards in which we work. And we should not implement solutions that are vendor specific. I think that would be a great threat for making data spaces working again and connecting data spaces with each other. I think it's very important to work together and synchronize.
Nothing to add.
Okay, so I have another question. Keeping with the theme of the event, which was your data, your choice, what do you guys think is the role of data rights in ensuring secure data exchange?
Well, obviously, I mean, I think in Europe we try to do things differently because we think it's important that the data owner stays in charge, stays in control. And I think everything that we discussed today was about that. So that we all see that there is a lot of value in data and in access to data, but it needs to be done in the right way. So control by the data owner. And like I said, I think it's so important to make the usability better, to make it easier. I think it's still a lot of complexity, but the only way we can try and learn how to do this is by just doing it, by just doing projects and running into problems and solving them.
I think next to data rights, so data security is an important topic. And the example I just showed with the aircraft industry, we explicitly mentioned that when we talk about Ministry of Defense, the Air Force, you can imagine that there is a kind of a reluctance to share data, or at least know exactly who you're sharing what data with.
And another interesting question that I had, what do you think is the role of AI in this revolution that we are trying to achieve here?
I think I already mentioned AI in my presentation a little bit. AI is driving, I think, data spaces in a tremendous way because it will need a lot of data where nobody has access to except if you own that data. So if you're allowed, if you enable data in data space, you can kind of get access to data you need
without actually having it. So that's, I think AI will drive this tremendously fast further on.
Yeah, I think if you look at AI, where everybody is now doubting how the data is collected to train all those models, I'm very curious if all the European legislation are really put in practice if we had those models. So it's also quite an interesting test. Like all these rules, we should also see them as a mechanism to get things working properly and not try to apply them for everything. It's just, if you build a solution that's capable to comply to every legislation, although the case is not there yet, we also are not achieving our goals, I think. So at the end, those rules are there to build solutions that work properly. But if you use them in the wrong way, they can also block any innovation at all.
I think in addition, I mean, we've been saying it maybe in the beginning, it's all about the business of data. If the data spaces are just operational and working, that means we can focus on the added value data service on top of it. I think that's where AI and the different applications come in. Because if you have access to data, you can do real new applications on analysis of the data and the experiences. Maybe we can increase the aircraft reliabilities, for instance, as an example, or in other use cases, use it for different operations.
Thank you. Do we have any questions at this point from the audience?
Maybe one. Maybe just one. You're here in the community, iSHARE community. What's the biggest challenge you have now on short term to use iSHARE and actually make it work? Is there a challenge? Does it work flawlessly, or do you run into some problems or challenges?
Well, I mean, looking at it from a perspective as KPN and telco, the standards of that we get by our CISO and by our security policies are extremely high, so making sure that we can get the code up to enterprise level is our biggest effort at the moment. So making sure that it's at a mature level to start using it within a corporation like KPN. And I think the next level will be, in the Netherlands you have 𝐁𝐴, for instance, but okay, how are we going to work with identities in Europe? That's another, I think, good challenge.
If you look at our challenges, actually, it is the implementation. You mentioned identities, which identities to use, in what sense, corporate identities, but also if you look at the applications, it's not only the identities of companies, but also identities of individuals, and going forward, even the identities of sensors and components as well. So the whole identity thing is really a challenge, how to fill it in.
Any last comments from the panelists?
No. Good.
Thank you so much for being here. We're happy to have you here.
Thanks. Thank you.